What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another Tuffy Talk live show. You got myself, Layton Smith, Greg the Leg here, talking about all things NC State for sure. As there is a ton to get to right now. Really not necessarily like a ton on one sport, but there's a lot of sports right now to talk about and discuss, obviously. I mean, but the one thing, Greg, that I will swear by on the show, and I want to make it very clear for everybody listening right now.
My good looks and charm.
Today, well, that too. But
Okay.
I do pledge on the show today if we can talk about every sport, but we are never going to talk about baseball today. It's not happening. We will not talk about baseball today. All right, everybody know that. So, no, okay, fine. We'll talk a little bit.
I don't have a lot, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, well, hey, and I'm surprised you say that, Greg. Sure, because I mean, obviously, it was a pretty big exhibition game that took place for sure. That I figured you'd be maybe spending a whole live show talking about.
Yeah, we had some things going on last week and wasn't able to make it down for the game. And I'd be damned was not going to listen to the only broadcast available, which was the Carolina feed. Their radio was the only thing that was covering it. So I refused. Got a couple of little text here and there, but we'll get into it
for sure. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, if you're tuning in with us and if you've been with us before, you know the drill, but make sure any comments, questions, concerns that you have, put them in the chat. Again, we'll be talking all things NC State today for sure. But before we get into the more serious side of the show, we wanted to have a little bit of fun here first. There's a particular clip that has been going around social media for sure that has gotten quite the buzz for sure. And I think for a lot of NC State fans, I think speaks volumes for how we feel right now about a specific school down the road. So with that being said, you may have heard this guy before if you've been following NC State for, I don't know, 60 to 90 seconds or so. Torrey Holt, all-time NC State great wide receiver, and he was on the Rich Eisen show to talk about football in general, talk about the game, talk about his now LA Rams for sure, Puka Nacua, all that. But at the end, Rich Eisen said, you know what? I have a couple minutes here. I'm going to ask you, Torrey Holt. You're an NC State guy, and there's a particular school down the road that it has not been doing that well. What are your thoughts on a little bit of context there? But again, we're going to play this whole clip here because it is pure fun. So enjoy it, and Greg and I will jump into it afterwards.
To a team coached by a guy who's now struggling at North Carolina.
Yeah.
So are you taking any special sort of excitement on Bill Belichick's
look at my wife. Do it again,
difficulty?
Man. We've been loving it. We have been loving it. What? Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is our way of laughing or having some fun with Carolina without even having to say anything. It's great. So it's been awesome. We've been loving it. But no, I think Coach Belichick, we all know that he's a wonderful coach.
Sure.
College is certainly different from pros in the way it is now with the NIL and everybody else involved. I think Coach and his crew, they have to consider the humanity part of it, the human part of dealing with young people and families in the collegiate ranks. And I think they strayed away from that in a way. I think now because they've been catching so much criticism, I think now that's being reeled back in. And I think eventually at some point they'll right the ship. But right now, man, I hope they lose every game.
Well, they're pretty much doing that right now.
Right, that's right. And then the last game of the season, they got to come to Carter Finley. At NC State.
And what's going to happen?
He'll feel it. He'll feel it.
See, I knew I was on something.
Yeah, the Wolves will be out. Believe that.
Howling.
Okay.
Yes. There you go.
No doubt.
Pure joy here for sure. I mean, I wish honestly, Greg, I would have put our screens up beside it, but I didn't want to mess up the video and screw it up. So I let it be. But you and me, Greg, for sure, were quite enjoying it in the background here for sure. But
absolutely.
Again, man, and this is my thing, Greg, for sure. I've told a lot of people this for sure who have asked me about, my thoughts about UNC season so far, which obviously just has a just chef's kiss for sure this past weekend with the fumble at the 1-inch yard line to have a good shot to beat Cal. Just like, here's my thing is listen, I don't really need to say much. I actually, even for some of my UNC friends of mine that actually do kind of like, I actually feel bad for them a little bit because, man, this is a whole nother level, Greg, that I think in North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina, we have not seen maybe ever. I mean, in terms of from a national standpoint, because now with the added notive of social media and their, just the amount of coverage on everything, like it's nonstop, whether they win or lose, with Belichick calling Kirk Herbstreit, on College Game Day when they talked about him. Like, it's just, there's nothing to be said except I'm enjoying it, and I hope that he signs a 20-year extension,
Lifetime contract.
lifetime contract.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely gotten off to an auspicious start, to say the least. And you knew that everything that program did this year was going to be under a microscope. And there's definitely been no love lost from the media, which is kind of interesting, to say the least, because usually UNC gets pretty favorable media coverage. But yeah, it seems like every week you're hearing something new coming out of that program, whether it's locking players out that are trying to rehab injuries, whether there's discontent in the locker room, whether it's Jordan or Jordan, something, that definitely, that dude Pablo Torres is probably not going to get a Christmas card from Bill Belichick this year, from all the things that he's been. I don't know what Belichick did to piss that guy off, but man, like, he is enemy number one for Pablo Torres.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and here's my thing too, as well, which is so funny. Is, I mean, like, even with this stuff recently with the whole Saudi Arabia thing, it's just like,
yeah, that's weird,
dude. Like, y'all are, it's just, I don't even know what to say, honestly. Besides, just it's just bad on all levels. From really the top down, and because
probably no one gives a crap about Saudi Arabia if they're winning.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you when you are, what are they, 2-4 now, 2-5? I don't even really keep up.
No, they're 1-5.
Is it 1-5? Okay, again, I don't keep up with it. I really don't. At the end of the day, don't care a whole lot. It's just funny that they're getting all this negative coverage, which I find humorous. But
Very much so.
if you're winning games and all of that, because I don't think they're the first team to look at Saudi Arabia. I remember reading something earlier this year that there was another college program. I'd have to go back and look. So that one really wasn't too cray-cray. But again, I get it. It's a new era. You need to find ways to generate revenue. Okay. But it becomes weird when you add it up to the rest of the story. Like, in and of itself, not a big deal. But when you add it to the rest of the components, it makes for craziness.
Yep. Yeah, Chilton, clarifying 2-4. I forgot they beat UNC Charlotte. I honestly thought that, again, listen.
They have not been a Power 4 team.
Well, but that's my thing though too, is like UNC Charlotte, man, like they're a whole nother low. So let's put it this way. If I were UNC, remember how proud they were, being like, man, like, look at this look at this UNC offense, finally breaking out against UNC Charlotte, and then UNC Charlotte lost to App State, and App State just lost to Coastal Carolina. Like, and here's my thing too, Greg, I wanted to mention as well, is, again, man, just college football has definitely changed in a weird way, for sure. So many upsets. I mean, Louisville beating Miami wasn't, from an ACC from an ACC fan, it wasn't too shocking. Now, I mean, Louisville dominated that game from beginning to end. That was shocking how dominant Louisville truly was for that whole game. But like Texas Tech losing to Arizona State, I believe it was.
State. Yep.
So it just, and then I don't know, just like with college football. I mean, like, look at FSU. They beat Bama week 1. And now Bama has a Heisman Trophy favorite and is probably going to get a top 5 seed in college football playoffs. Most and FSU is an absolute dumpster fire right now. So it's a weird year, man, in the world of college football. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that I stayed up really late. Saturday couldn't sleep. I ended up watching that Florida State Stanford game, which sorry.
Little ring ring.
Yeah, my phone or my iPad just wanted to do an alert. But
Fine.
yeah, that game was just wild. Like the ending was pretty crazy. You had Castellanos get knocked out like the drive. I think it was the drive before the final drive, and then
Correct.
FSU gets the ball back, and then they throw like a deep pass on 4th and whatever, and then the clock issue, and then there's a pass interference in the end zone, and then they get stopped on like the half-inch line. Like it was just a wild game.
Yes.
If you're a college football fan, it was pretty wild. But you as an FSU fan team, you cannot lose to Stanford. You just can't.
Well,
Yeah, but it's been a wild year.
When Stanford literally had their backup quarterback for the whole
Correct.
second half,
Yep.
had a backup running back the whole game, backup offensive guard, backup
linebacker,
cornerback.
yeah, something like that.
Like they were a beat up, really bad team. Like you
Mhm.
know, and again, you still lost.
And you played it
20
at a good time too. Like it wasn't like when
Yeah.
State went out there to play Cal. We played like at 9:00 in the morning.
Right. Yep.
Because it was I think it was a 12 or 12:30 game, which would have been like 9:30 on the East Coast time. I mean, you had a 7:30 game, which would have been a 4:30 afternoon game, so you couldn't even blame like jet lag or any of that nonsense on it.
Nope.
You know, Stanford has an interim head coach and Reich.
Yep.
You just can't. You can't. And then they got the, you know, I don't know how. Well, I think I know how. I think this is money driven. They gave Norvell the thumbs up for the rest of the season, which, but they've lost 9 in a row, and I just hope that we don't break that streak for them when they come to Carter Finley in about a month.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, and you know, obviously too, Greg, you know, wanted to jump on over to some college football as well. Obviously, you know, we're out of the bye week finally, so you know, heading into a decent matchup for sure versus Pitt. Very hot Pitt team right now with a very hot true freshman quarterback. Right now, a 7.5-point underdog for that game. And Dave Doran, during his press conference, said today, and I quote, "We've got a lot to play for. I expect to win every game we play, and we prepare that way. If you go 5-0 in those 5 games, you're sitting here with 9 wins." You know, here's my. I mean, that's to me. That's
as
just
a coach, you have to say that.
Well,
But
that's what I'm saying. Like that,
Yeah.
there's not really much there with that quote. And I mean, obviously, I'm sure he said others as well, but that's the one between Wolfpacker and Pack Pride that seems to be the most focused on. Which I'm sitting here saying, that says to me absolutely nothing. Says absolute zero. So here's my thing, Greg. I want to kind of ask, and we'll kind of get down to nitty gritty instead of just do all the coach talk of like, you know, well, we could win, we could lose. Which is, I mean, what are your true expectations? Just starting with the Pitt game here first. Like, you know, do you expect a lot of changes, or do you expect more of the same? What are your thoughts?
You would hope. So we've talked about this a couple of times. One of 2 coaches that Doran hasn't lost to is Pat Narduzzi and Pitt. So you do have that on the line this week. Coming out of a bye, you know, listening to some of the coaches' press conference, he kind of just, you know, they broke down what they were doing right, what they weren't doing right, and it seems like they spent a lot of time on trying to fix some of the things that they weren't doing well. If the team is still bought in, which I have no reason not to believe that, you would hope that you're going to get the team's best effort to date coming out, minus game 1. I think this is the game that you should be second most prepared for, because you do have the extra time for it, much like the opening game. So you should see State's best effort on Saturday. And Saturday, in my opinion, will tell you a lot about how the rest of the season will go. You know, if you kind of look at kind of the tea leaves, I expect State to be an underdog in all the games, but except for 2. I would expect at this point we would be favorites in FSU and Carolina. The other ones, I would agree that we will be an underdog, even with the home tilt against Georgia Tech, and then of course the road game against Miami. So again, you'll find a lot out about this team come Saturday.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, I mean, just like Preacher Man says, I can hear Herm Edwards saying, "Hello, you play to win the game. You don't play just to play it." And so, yeah, no, again, it goes back to Doran's comment. Like,
and if you look at Notre Dame, we were in it for 3.5 quarters.
Boring.
just kind of fell apart at the end. Don't know if we're getting anybody back from any of these injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye out as the week goes on.
Yep.
This is the make or break it game for the season, if you ask me. And we talk about this every year. It seems like we come to a fork in the road at some point in the season, whether this thing can continue to fall off the rails or, the team comes together, has a kumbaya moment and then reels off 3 or 4 wins.
Yep. 100%. Real quick, Greg, as well. Your mic's popping a little bit, bud.
I thought so.
Yeah. No, you're good. Go ahead. But while I go ahead and introduce the next part here, with NC State football schedule here, looking at what you got left over. So you're hosting. You're going to Pitt, but then you're hosting Georgia Tech. Go to Miami, host Florida State, and then host Carolina to finish off the season. And so Georgia Tech, I mean, definitely got to give a hats off. Impressive win for sure. I mean, against Duke, at Duke, a game that Vegas actually had Duke favored by 2.5 points in actually. Got to give a hats off there, Georgia Tech, for that win. Now up to number 7 in the country. Like haven't seen that since probably early 2010s. Bravo Georgia Tech for sure. But so yeah, again, it got to get through Pitt, take care of business, because then you're going up a steep ramp to get to a matchup versus Georgia Tech, who is proven at this point, who is very proven. They can handle it. They're very experienced. They're very mature. They're very talented. So
but very beatable. But I mean,
beatable.
They haven't really beaten anybody. So let's take that. Go ahead. I think you could. I won't.
Well, I get that, but
their best win is Wake Forest.
I mean, at Duke right now is a pretty. I mean, that definitely is better than Wake Forest.
Well, I mean, Duke's not. I mean, what is Duke's record? Are they 500?
Well, again, Duke was actually favored in that game. I guarantee you, Georgia Tech was favored.
It was at Duke, though. It was at Duke.
Correct, but still, I mean, they weren't. Vegas was predicting Duke to win. So yes, I do agree. I do agree with that, but also too, I mean, they're number 7 in the country, and we're not talking about a Miami, okay, Miami, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, number 9?
That was a classic Miami game last week. Like that was,
and they're still number 9, but they got dominated the whole game in their own stadium. Tennessee, they just got the brakes beat off them by Bama, but they're still ranked. So those guys, okay, what are you doing being ranked? But Georgia Tech, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily they are a top 10 team in the country, but I am saying, hey, listen, they've earned their stripes for sure to this point.
Right.
They've every single challenge has been put in front of them. They took care of business. So
they're undefeated. They're a Power 4 team. It's just the way football is going to work. You're going by this time in the season at 7-0. You're going to be a top 10 team if you're undefeated in a Power 4. It's just, heck, even if you're a group of 4, you're going to be in the top 17, 18 undefeated. So if you're Power 4, obviously you're going to get probably double that, which equates to where they're at. But gosh, the ACC is bad again in football. I feel like that's just
really bad.
That's just a common theme for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just not good football.
Which is why it is the most frustrating thing of all that we're still sitting here. Which goes back to definitely the frustration too with Doran. I get that for sure. But one thing though too, Greg, as well, again, and I know we talked about it a little bit off here, but again, man, but with all these job openings, man, it like, if Doran retires, then hey, then we'll get out there and it is what it is. But to all the fire Doran people out there, I say you're behind Florida by a good 3 or 4 tiers. You're behind FSU is probably gonna end up firing. You still got UCLA, you got Stanford, Penn State, and then all those coaches all the teams that those coaches get pulled from, assuming they're probably going to be pretty high caliber coaches. They're going to have to fill those slots.
The carousel.
So again, it's just like, it's definitely going to be a very competitive coaching carousel this offseason for sure. So
if you, in our chat yesterday, I kind of just put together a list and I'll just go through it real quick.
Go for it.
Obviously, I kind of did these by conferences just to kind of lump them, but obviously in the ACC, you have Virginia Tech and Stanford. For those that don't understand, Frank Reich is this isn't that you, Leighton, because a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know this until like last week myself. that Frank Reich is only an interim head coach, even though he got hired like in March or April. But so that's out of the ACC. Out of the Big 12, you have Oklahoma State, and then the SEC, you have Arkansas and Florida. The Big 10, you have Penn State and UCLA, and then kind of sort of Pac-12-ish, independent-ish. I don't really know what Oregon State is right now, but you have their opening. And then I had possibles out of the SEC. You have Auburn, LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina, and then you had out of the Big 10, you have
South
Wisconsin.
Carolina.
I think he could be. Yeah, I know that's crazy to
Man.
think, but I don't know. Like they had a lot of expectations. I don't think they would get rid of him this year.
No.
But he could be in line for Virginia Tech, which then could cause the opening at South Carolina. And then I had Wisconsin out of the Big 10. And then out of the ACC, I still think FSU could still become open. I have UNC on there because that could get weird at the end of the year. And then I have State on there just because, all the rumors that are floating around. But don't let those openings prevent you from maybe going out and getting someone, because like you don't know what next year is going to look like, right? Every year this could, start to play out. Like you just don't know who's going to be those coaches that are gone. But yeah, it's going to be interesting and fun to watch in the off season, starting probably around bowl season.
Yeah, no, the most I think who you most interested in, Greg, where James Franklin goes or where John Gruden goes?
Yeah, I definitely think John Gruden's way back into coaching is through the college ranks. I think his time has kind of come with the NFL, especially with him still having an open lawsuit against the NFL, and I don't believe anyone would hire him while that was still active.
No.
Yeah, it could definitely be fun. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's some other schools that have openings like UAB. I didn't include them on the list because they're just kind of a group of 4. But, you'll see more group of 4 openings come up potentially because some of those guys will graduate up to P4 or group of 5, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have a name if it were to come open?
If NC State were to come open?
Yeah. And money wasn't enough. I mean, actually, let's make it realistic, right? Because money is a factor in this.
I was going to say
you can't go say Nick Saban because that's probably never going to happen.
No, again, like that's the most annoying thing, honestly, is all the list having Nick Saban in it. I mean, and I honestly love that College Game Day basically put the nail in that coffin. Like when Pat McAfee literally asked Nick Saban's wife, like, if you were offered $50 million to go back to Penn State, would you do it? And she was basically said no. And so, yeah. So I mean, like if money were an option, because here's my thing. Like, James Franklin on College Game Day, which is very fascinating, said, my goal is still to win a national championship. So now I'm just going to do it elsewhere, which to me, unfortunately, kind of was like, okay, well, that's
we're out.
That's not NC State. Yeah. Like, he's not going to go somewhere where football is not the primal focus. So like, honestly, like a Florida State, kind of, to definitely raises some eyes to me for sure. I think that'd be a good option for him. Now, do you want to go and compete against, a Bobby Bowden, and create your own legacy?
Yeah.
So, that's kind of question. But so, yeah, I mean, like if money wasn't an option and I said, James Franklin, we could throw $25 million towards NIL and basically, Penn State supplements your income. And then, yeah, there's no doubt if I had my pick, it would be James Franklin all day long because I love how that dude runs his program. He, is a phenomenal human being, a phenomenal husband, father, all the above. And
he can build programs.
He builds programs.
But his record against top 5, top 10 opponents is just not good.
But here's my other thing, though, too.
And that's his knock.
And again, Greg, we talked about this last week too. But again, the fact that James Franklin got fired, the fact that Dabo Swinney was legitimately talked about getting fired, it just, I'll be honest with you, and I said it last week again. It does bug me for sure where we are with college football specifically, for sure. I'm not a fan of it at all.
Well, one of the things that I saw that was kind of cool that was floated out, and I kind of thought about it too. So a lot of times these contracts look like say you get paid $5 million a year as a head coach, and you get fired, and they're going to pay you your $5 million, and then you get picked up by your next university, and they're going to pay you $6 million, for instance. Okay, so the old team would not be on the hook for any money.
Right.
But I've also seen like where you only get paid $2 million, they had to pay the difference of $3 million. But with Jimbo's contract and Franklin's contract, they have to pay him that money regardless of where he goes next. So even if he were to make more or less, the other team is still on the hook for the full amount that he's owed. So what if they took a $1 contract, and then all that money you were to put into the coaching, you put into resources?
Right.
Like if you could pull that off, it's almost like getting a quarterback on his rookie contract, and so you can put your money towards a defensive line or a wide receiver, whatever. Like if you could pull something like that, that would be insane. So if you could, if the coach took a no dollar contract for the first 3 years of a 5-year deal, if you could do that, holy moly, that would be an insane thing to do.
Well, because here's my thing too is two things I'll say to that. First of all, like this whole that whole situation you just talked about reminds me of like the Sean Payton situation where when he got suspended from the Saints, he went home. They made a movie about it and coached his high school team, for a year. Like, oh my gosh, like that is like the dream scenario for sure. You have Sean Payton coaching a high school team, but also too as well is with because I mean, look to your point. I mean, 3 years with James Franklin, if he could get us to a college football playoff appearance within 3 years, like where I kind of sit with it is, I mean, look at Indiana again with Kirk Cincinnati. I mean, 3 years ago they didn't give a flying F about football. Couldn't care less, honestly. Like all that was honestly was just for the concessions revenue and for Title IX. That's all basically football is for Indiana. But now they just pay the guy $11.6 million a year for football. Like,
and here's the thing, he still hasn't beaten anybody.
No, but
I mean, he beat Oregon this year. Like, that's a good win. That's a good road win.
And he's going to go to 2 college football playoffs
most likely
in 2 years.
Most likely.
So yeah. So like, listen, I have no problem with them investing to that level. But again, it's just like that's my thing though. Is just like with any sport. If you struck gold, you hold on to the gold, which is also why I do a big fat eye roll at Clemson talking about Dabo Swinney. You struck gold and you want to throw it away. Now I get it,
but
yes, I know
that's in the past, and we know this is a "what have you done for me lately" business.
I agree, but he is Clemson. He is Bobby Bowden. He is Nick Saban.
But does that automatically get you a lifetime contract because you won? What did he win? 2, 3? What did he win?
Let's put it this way: if he hit Mike Norvell levels of going 1-11 in the ACC in 2 years, sure, I could definitely talk about that for sure. But the fact that Mike Norvell being at 1-11 has not been fired as of this moment, compare that to if a Dabo Swinney did that. You see what I'm saying, Greg? It's just
but there's also some other things that play. Like I feel like they're still paying Jimbo, right? I still feel like there's at least another couple. I don't know. I would have to look. I would have to. Right, exactly. I would have to look. At least Texas A&M is. So maybe they're not paying him, but then if you have to pay Norvell is like 52, 53, $54 million. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yep.
And then if you want a good quality coach, that's probably going to cost you another, depending on the length of contract, probably another $40 to $60 million. And then you just had to pay for all those renovations at your stadium, which hasn't been paid off.
Right. I know. Yeah. It's
money only goes so far. You can only tap into people's pockets so much.
Yeah. No, I agreed. So again, it's just it's a weird time for sure, and definitely and that's why I always say for NC State fans, it could be a lot worse.
It could be
worse. It could be a lot worse. You could be Carolina. So
and you have Michelle. Yeah, exactly. I was getting ready.
Michelle's.
And there's definitely parallels there.
Yeah, between Doran and Franklin. Sure, 100%. Now your hope, if you were to bring in Franklin, is that you are once again elevating that floor even to another level. And elevating the potential ceiling to another level as well. But again, it's still a potential ceiling.
Where I would go the difference. Obviously, Franklin has won some higher level games that coach hasn't, right?
Sure.
But the flip of that is, well, look at the resources available to Penn State vice NC State. Like
it's night and day.
not even in the same stratosphere.
Yep.
But
Agreed.
I would go back to his Vanderbilt days to say that he was able to build a very good program in a very not the same SEC as we see today, because it was much different.
Yeah.
You know, what was it, like probably 10 years ago? You didn't
Yep.
have all like the Texases and Oklahomas in it, but it was still the SEC, and he was
Right.
able to be successful in a conference where he didn't have a lot of resources,
Yeah.
probably less than at that time. Now Vanderbilt's put in a lot of money into their program over the last 3 years. I would probably argue that he had less resources at Vandy than he would have at State, and was still successful.
Wow. Yeah. That's strong, but I get it for sure. So, yeah, no. So I mean, for me, and you kind of asked me the question, Greg,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. If money was an option, what? Like, I mean, like, because that's my thing too. I don't even know like who would be on NC State's radar, honestly.
Yeah, they all
I have
have
no clue.
baggage, right? Like, you're gonna get a
Exactly.
retread. It's most likely gonna be a retread. Now, you
Mhm.
could, because like when we hired Doran, he was a group of 5 coach out of northern Illinois.
Mhm.
You know, will you go that route, like a Summerall, which I feel like he's going to be in line for an SEC job if he wants it out of
Definitely.
Tulane. You know,
Oh,
so do you
definitely.
go like you know, one of those? Do you get one of these, you know, coaches from the FFCA, as John Gruden likes to say it, the Fired Football Coaches of America Alumni Association? Do
Yep.
you go get one of those? Do you go get maybe like a Dan Mullen, who probably wants to jump back in? You know, again, he's got baggage. No, I thought he was successful at Florida. I don't know all the background stuff that he pissed off a lot of people, or I don't know the whole story at Florida, but he
Right.
was winning ball games. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone you bring in is definitely going to have question marks, right? Because that's just what people like to do. We don't like to look at the positive of what they've done. Lane Kiffin is one of those guys. Like, we are out of his budget,
By
but
yeah.
he's a weird one too. Like, he hasn't really done a whole lot. Like, he makes a lot of
Yep.
noise.
Yep.
He stays at places just long enough to not piss off everybody, and then he moves on. Other than Tennessee, like he really and USC was a weird one too. But
Yeah.
again, that's the baggage there, right? Like, he's a jumper.
Exactly.
Plus he's in the SEC. He's pretty successful. Like, they should have won that game against Georgia this past weekend, but he's another one that really hasn't
Mhm.
won a lot.
Yeah.
Right, future man. He definitely has connections with State, with his dad having been a head coach, Monty being a head coach.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you know, so maybe it's one of those type of things where, you know, there's a connection story there. You can maybe bring somebody home, or someone that has ties to the triangle. I've even heard Scott Shatterfield. Is that his name? Scatterfield?
Scott Satterfield.
Shatterfield. Thank you. Or, yeah, I think you definitely said it better than I did.
Where he
Cincinnati.
was at Cincinnati. Yep.
He was
And
at App
where
State before that, and then he was at
correct.
Louisville.
And he's
Now,
nowhere right now.
no, he's at Cincinnati right now. So they're talking maybe you could pull him from there. It's the Big 12.
He's not
Big
there
12.
anymore. Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. Cincinnati's
Okay,
actually having a
sorry.
pretty
I'm
decent
thinking about
season.
the former Cincinnati coach that went to Wisconsin. I'm all over the
Correct.
place.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Fickle.
Pickle. Yep. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, you're good. I've seen his name floated out there. Would he want it? Because I think he's from North Carolina originally. So would he maybe want to come back home? But he had his good time at App,
And then
but then
Louisville.
Louisville was not good.
No.
In fact, he was
A lot of money
probably
and no results.
correct, and he was about probably a year from getting fired. And again, he did like the Lane. He jumps before he gets fired.
It was the 10 back approach.
Right, and that's
Mhm.
kind of why I mentioned Beamer, because he's close to that window of getting fired. So then these coaches take a jump to get a reset, get paid, and then that's how they kind of, you know, stay in the game, if you will. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. We don't really have a lot to talk about. We'll get back to some NC State stuff here in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the landscape is just different.
Yep.
You know, even if you, other than, I would say, Ohio State, and I mean, the SEC teams are good. They beat up on each other, so it's really not fair to say. The Big 12 is definitely down. There really isn't a quote unquote specifically dominant. Like, if you gave me one team or the field come college football playoff time, I'm probably taking the field. and
Yes.
not the team. I don't
Correct.
know. How do you feel about that?
Yes. No, I mean, I is there a hotter team right now than Alabama? That's my thing. Because I'm still
Right.
sitting here saying if it's Ohio State versus Bama, I'm taking Bama because, in my opinion, it has the more proven quarterback with also two great weapons on top of it. Because that's my problem with Ohio State is they have a great team, but still a very unproven quarterback. You know, I mean, like, okay, yes, he's throwing to probably the best wide receiver. Not
Sure.
probably, he's throwing
No,
to the
the
best wide
best.
receivers in
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
So you know, but does that help you against an Alabama in the college football national championship? That's my thing. So, but yeah, no, 100%. Oregon's can, like, I know they slept against Indiana, but also too, I'm still sitting here. I saw who was it? They posted. Oh yeah, like the dream national championship, Vanderbilt versus Indiana. Like, how many people would love? I would love that game. That'd be awesome.
But
Just
again,
finally,
Indiana
two
is
non-blue
good.
bloods.
Yeah, Indiana is good because you have a guy like Mark Cuban who went to Indiana who's just pouring in money to the program. I mean, he's a billionaire. He can drop a couple million like nobody's business. And then so that's the thing, right? Like bringing it back to NC State.
Yep.
A lot of people are very bullish, or not even bullish isn't even the right word, but there's doubts, right? And so now I think if we can bring it back to maybe basketball and Will Wade.
Yes.
You've got people now kind of buying into the program. All right. So you got that initial boost of capital that you need. Now you got to go out and win ball games. And if you win ball games, kind of like Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. Right. That's the kind of so you need someone to kind of float you to get you started. All right. Get those buy-ins, as you're building a business. And then once you get the business going, all right, now I can expand. Now I can do more things. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing with Indiana a little bit where, okay, they got a little taste. All right. Okay. Now I can give it a little bit more money now so we can build off of that. And then when you see things get built and get going, people will naturally gravitate to a winner and they're like, okay, I'm willing to throw in a couple of ducats to this thing and keep it going. Right. And State has enough of those type of people where, if we could just get it going, right? And that was kind of our hope when we went to the Final Four 2 years ago. It's like, okay, let's go. This is a good set right here. Let's build on this foundation. And we didn't. And so that we lost that momentum. Now we hope that this will happen with basketball. And now then, if you are able to inject some life when, the Dave Doran era is done, get something going there, and then you can really start to get this train rolling out of the station. But it's just kind of getting it going. Like that's the hardest part of any of these things. You just getting that momentum built. And it sounds like from all counts, like the NIL events going on tonight, bringing it back to State, it sounds like they've raised over $500,000.
Before the silent auction pieces.
It like they
a lot of money,
and that's both men and women's, by the way. That's not just men's basketball, so we want to make sure that's put out there.
As it should. That's the right thing to do. 100%.
Yeah. $500,000 is a good start.
Absolutely.
But again, you got to go out and win ball games.
That's right.
Wes and the women's basketball team is a proven commodity. People are more willing to kind of drop some money towards that. And now Will Wade is, he's saying all the right things, doing all the right things. People are gravitating him just because of his personality. But now it's time to go win ball games, and that begins in 2 weeks.
That's right. So I want to kind of spend a couple minutes here on a few different sports here. So starting off with men's basketball, since you brought up Will Wade. Obviously, we're only 6 days away from exhibition in Greensboro Coliseum versus South Carolina. Men's, not women's. So I mean, just kind of a little bit of a pulse check, and let me know in the chat here, y'all, as well. And got the celebrity Wolfpack karaoke in the chat as well. So we'll
What's up, Amanda?
Coming here. Yep. But real quick, pulse check here, Greg. I mean, 6 days away from men's basketball being played. It's the first time seeing Darian Williams, Van Allen Lubin, and NC State uniform, man. Like, check with me.
Yeah. So there was a secret scrimmage that was played a couple weeks ago. The men's team did really well. They played App State, I believe it was, and dominated. A lot of rotation stuff going on there. From what I understand, no one played over 20 minutes.
So it can't really take that. Well, I mean, you could take it you can't look
However,
at really the stats,
well,
if,
the main
for
takeaway is the projected starting five, they were a
okay.
plus like 22. So basically, it was never
Mhm.
really closer than 22 points when they were on the thing. But you also, it's App State, like they're not really a basketball school. We'll learn probably a little bit more this weekend against South Carolina. They're not a great program, but it's a
Yeah.
Power Four, so
Yep.
that matters.
Yep.
It's not like you're playing, Northwest East State, Northeast West State Cougars.
That's right.
It's South Carolina.
Yep.
From what we were told, Matt Abel looked really good. You've heard a lot of great things coming from Coach, and then the other players that have kind of talked about him. And then the other buzz is Paul McNeil. Paul McNeil seems like he's ready for a breakout.
Yep.
Kind of, what do you think about, like, what are you looking for from Paul McNeil in his second year? Because everything looks bigger, stronger. Sounds like he's shooting the ball really well, as a team as a whole, shooting the ball really well when they take good shots, according to Coach Wade.
Yep.
But what are your thoughts there?
Well, with Paul, I mean, it sounds like this dude's basically automatic from three. Sounds like he's like statistically been the best 3-point shooter we've had on this team all offseason. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously, again, Greg, and this is really what it comes down to, man. Like for me, it's still just like it sounds too good to be true thing, where it's like I'm sitting here saying, okay,
Right,
it's
pinch
like,
me, right?
pinch me, because like from all the Will Wade stats he gives, like sounds like almost like 6-7 players can shoot three from at least 30%, which was we couldn't even find one of those last year.
Well, I mean, what we were like around 31%, 32%.
If that, I
If
mean,
that,
it was,
I kind of felt like we were like
was
28, 29, but maybe I want to give the benefit of the doubt. I think we were like 33, 34. But
yeah,
5% difference in 3-point shooting, like that's
huge.
significant. That's a
And the
significant
fact that
number.
it's not, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's going to come from one player. We don't
Right.
have that one 3-point specialist, which is
Right.
fine. That's okay.
It's actually better, because then it makes it harder for teams to defend.
Exactly. But also too as well. I mean, Musa Sagnia again, who we talked about, Van Allen Lubin, like,
Dang can pop.
Dang, like we're like, but also like more talking about like, like we're gonna have great front court presence,
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah,
is gonna be great.
Yep.
So really for me, so again, for Paul McNeil, what I'm looking for from him, I want to see that three for sure. But I want to see that confidence. Like it sounds like he has gained mega confidence this offseason, and I want to see it. Like and so for me, really this season for Will Wade, the toughest thing is going to be keeping this team together, keeping them locked in, because there's going to become a point where some divides are going to have to be created of, okay, this is my starting lineup.
Right.
These are my main bench guys. These are my in garbage time, guys. It's going to have to eventually get there.
Yeah, it's knowing what your role is, playing your role to the best of your ability, stepping up when necessary. So if you have an injury or someone gets in foul trouble, it's just that it's that cohesiveness. And if you kind of go back up here to what Amanda says, or Wolfpack Karaoke, she goes, got to say at the NL event tonight, men's team looks like a group who really enjoys being around each other. And that kind of showed evidence as well. They were all at the women's scrimmage the other night. They were all kind of hanging out in one section. So that's like hanging out off court is just as important as hanging together on the court. When you can get along, when you can trust, and that someone's got your back, that makes you want to fight for that person so much more. And so, when things get tight or things get, a little chaotic, you got someone that can kind of be a calming presence. Right. And I think you got some dudes on this team that can do that. When we talk about the women's team here in a few minutes, that's going to be, to me, that's a question mark that we'll kind of talk about when we talk about the exhibition from the other night. But I think that, that's awesome. Michelle here goes also that they were there supporting the women's volleyball team earlier this season. So again, just hanging out on and off the court. When you're a basketball player, a football player, those two sports especially, other teams take their cues from those types of players, because when they see them hanging together, supporting other teams, that makes them want to kind of return the favor. And it's easy for people to go to basketball games and football games because everyone kind of just traditionally loves those sports. But when you talk in volleyball, soccer, baseball, softball, those aren't sports that typically get a lot of people to support them. So when these players come out, like last year at fall ball, I saw like 3 or 4 of the women's basketball teams, players at a fall ball scrimmage. That makes these players want to go hang out and be with each other and support their fellow, brothers and sisters in athletics.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, and Amanda from Wolfpack area talking a little bit about the amazing contributions that have been made tonight. Love to see it for sure. So yeah, again, love where we're going with men's basketball. Excited to, finally see some of these guys in state uniform in person. 6 days away, Sunday, 6:30
Doubleheader.
p.m. Yep, doubleheader, 6:30 p.m. tip off. NC State versus South Carolina. Make sure to go and let's pack Greensboro Coliseum red. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I guess we can kind of naturally transition over to women's basketball at this point.
You got it. Yeah, no, definitely very interesting exhibition for sure. In Reynolds Coliseum, a 77-69 point win. I don't know what, obviously
trailed
they
at the
don't
half.
What's that?
We trailed at the half, 41-39.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the spread would have been for this game, Greg, but
could have been more than that.
I'm gonna assume we didn't cover. So
yeah.
So kind of I'm looking at the box score here right here. Obviously probably the highlights from obviously for me, being that I've been such a big fan of hers even last year as well. Tilda Trieger, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field, but 3 for 4 from free throw line as well. So love what we saw from her. Definitely is setting up to be, I think, a breakout year for her for sure. But obviously I'll say the standout person for me. Greg, did you have anybody stand out from your side?
Just looking at some of the stats, Samuels seemed really good from 3-point line. I know.
3 for 5.
I was going to say 3 for 4 at the half, so she only took one more in the second half. That's encouraging because we kind of need to replace some shooters from last year with losing Madison Hayes and both Isaiah James being the big one from 3. She was like probably arguably our best 3-point shooter
by far.
And then obviously Nene. Yeah, Sanaya. So yeah, for me that was kind of like, okay, who's going to be kind of our quote unquote sharpshooter for this year? It seems like Samuels has the early lead in the clubhouse with that. Sounded like I was just talking with a couple of fans that are really into women's basketball. Seemed really sluggish to begin with on the defensive end to begin with, at least in the first half. Didn't really get a final report. Rebounding was a little bit of an issue, which was an issue last year. So, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But for me, I don't really look at it like this is a team that's going to have to gel. There's a lot of new faces. Really, from a starting standpoint, you really only have Tilda and Zoe as really returning starting players. So the other 3 are going to kind of have to, you have Pierre, you have Samuels. Who was the third that I'm missing? Samaria. Yeah. Jones. Yeah. She started. No, she was on the team last year. Obviously you have a couple others and Maddie Cox and Collier. And I think I'm missing one more. That was on the team last year. But regardless, it's how is this team going to gel? How quickly is it going to come together? And for me is who's going to truly be the leader of this team. We've kind of talked about it a couple of times at this point. You would assume that would be Zoe Brooks, but by nature, she's kind of an introverted player. She kind of leads by example, which again, there's tons of different leadership styles.
Correct.
So yeah, is she going to be the vocal like one when, there's a players only type thing, right? Whether that's a players only meeting in the locker room or in a timeout in a 1-point game against Carolina, is she going to be like, all right, let's get it together. Like we got this, like, let's stay together. Or actually I would actually say the reverse. If we're down like 4 or 5 points late in a fourth quarter game against Carolina or Duke or whoever, insert team here, is she going to be like, okay, like let's stay together. We're good. You can't always rely on your coaches to be that person. You need someone with some accountability and perseverance and leadership on the team to kind of guide them along the way in the tough times.
There is no championship team that's ever existed that's been coach led. It has to be player led. It has to be the players first. 100%.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle Awu. That's who I was forgetting. Right, was the other
who didn't even play. So
which is interesting. So maybe she's dealing with an injury or something.
Yeah, definitely a little bit concerned there for sure. But yeah, I mean, Zoe Brooks being 1 for 9 from the field.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not going to
Like,
get it done.
yeah. But here's my thing, Greg. It's like, all right, if that game is going to happen, let it be in this game. If
Yeah.
that game is going to happen where she goes 1 for 9 and just go ahead and get that rust off and that bad mojo off and let's scrap it and throw it away.
Well,
So
and here's the other thing I'll add in these types of exhibition games. You don't know what they were trying to accomplish and work on. So they might be working on some type of situational stuff, some rotational pieces. Some people might play with other players just to kind of see how they operate with each other.
Yep.
And so kind of goes back to the men's exhibition, and then of course the doubleheader this week. You'll see probably some different types of rotations, lineups, situational stuff. If you're up or down, or if there's a certain type of player, maybe you want to match up. Like there's all kinds of different things. So again, I don't read so much into the results. For me, it's more the effort on the individual players, and like how they look, body language, body language, effort, those type of things, how they take coaching, engagement in the game. To me, that's more important than the results.
Well, and here's my thing too, though, Greg, as well, which I will admit for sure, is that sometimes with these exhibition games, sometimes there's a story to them, sometimes there's not.
For real.
Obviously, like last year with men's basketball, when we hung the banner and we barely beat whoever it was that we played. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Well, remember that exhibition game when we played Lenore or whatever the hell that
Lenore
Reiner, right?
Yep.
That was like, did we win like an overtime or something? Or
I think that's the game I was talking about.
Yeah,
and
I think that's the one you're talking
about. It was like, okay, well, it's a lower class exhibition, so maybe we're just just like you said, just kind of running through guys or whatever. But nope, there was actually fire to that smoke. 100%, there was fire to that smoke. But I just truly believe, especially since we know what you have using Zoe Brooks, what you have in Maria Jones, what Camille Pierre, how good she can be, like. So I don't think there's smoke here to this whatsoever.
Not yet.
So,
I'm
yet.
not. Until we start playing actual games and seeing effort, and like for instance, everything that I got secondhand. So I didn't actually visualize. I was only looking at stat sheets and stats. We've talked about stats. They can paint whatever picture you want it to paint. And until I see it with my own eyes, I'm not going to worry about it. Now, we did talk about the last time we lost a group of true leaders, right? The following season wasn't as good as we had liked. We had a lot of talent, but we had a lot of individuals.
Correct.
So that to me, that will tell the tale once we start getting into the couple of games. Again, I wouldn't even take the first 5 games. Like states, women's, we're talking women still. They have a tough sledding the first like month of the season. Like they're not going out and playing cupcakes. We got Tennessee and USC right out the gate. So I won't put a whole lot of stock into those. But it'll at least give you a barometer or a foundation of where you're at as a team. But again, this team will look vastly different from November 4th until March 4th. Like that's what, 5-6 months. Like there's going to be a lot of action in between that.
Agreed. And just like Michelle said, and and Amanda said from Wolfpack Karaoke said as well. I mean, Wes Moore is known to be one of the top 10 women's basketball coaches right now, and so that's also too where I lean a lot of my trust on for sure is in Coach Moore as well. So excited to see what this team will look like once they truly get going to full speed here. For sure.
2 weeks away from getting the season going, which is insane to think. My plan 100%. Is right now to be at the men's home opener and then the women's neutral game site, if everything works out, hopefully, just depending on everything we got going on. But I do have tickets for those games, so I am excited to see it getting going. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a fun season for both women's and men's basketball. I just hope that our expectations are met, because they are very high. The men are just outside the top 25 in the first AP poll. The women are sitting, I think, 8th or 9th, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I definitely I'm looking forward, Greg, for sure, to the first live show that we have after NC State losing a basketball game, and we'll be sitting here being like, guys, nobody thought we were going to season that we were going to go undefeated this season. Like, there's
Right.
going to be slips for sure.
Right.
Like, it's going to happen. There's going to be a number that is not 0 in our loss column. It's going to happen. So
yeah, for me, it's like, okay, who was that loss against, right?
Correct.
Is it against a good opponent that's probably going to make the tournament, or is it some wacky one that we had last year? Thank you, Michelle, number 9. Or some wacky like horrible group of 5 team that's ranked 136 in the RPI. Something just stupid.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope not. I hope that's
No,
not
but
it.
again, one loss will not define the season. It's not like football where you only play 12 games. One loss can define your season. You're going to be fine even if you lose to the number 136 team in the country, you can still make a run all the way to the championship game. It's not going to be the end all be all. So that kind of just goes back to us as fans. We have to just be like, okay, you got a loss, good, bad, or indifferent. You shake it off and you go get the next one. Like that's for me. That's the no brainer. But again, we like to live on the edge, and we're ready to jump at a moment's notice if it doesn't go our way.
Yep.
And that's jump off the bandwagon. That is
right. Now, one interesting a little quite quick side note here, Greg, for sure, before we jump on over to a couple other sports here, is Alabama just got their 2027 QB commit, and then Trent Seaborn, 4-star QB commit. So that means that as of right now, it seems like because that knocks off a school here for Gunnar Rivers, more likely, unless he wants to go compete against another in-class QB commit, but seems like it's down to us versus Auburn right now. So we'll see here for sure with Gunnar visiting for the Carolina game. So what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah,
Greg?
you have all the he'll be out here for the Carolina game. Which if you're gonna be a recruit,
that's the game we want you to come to.
That's the game to be to.
Yep.
Because you're going to get your best audience, if you will, right? The pandemonium 100%. That is Carter Finley Stadium. Probably won't be a night game based on the team's records, but we've seen, sometimes they do those things for, rivalry week. Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot can change too. Like if, they love Coach Dorn and Coach Dorn is not here in 2 years, which, even if he comes back, I don't know how much longer he wants to do this.
Yeah.
So, do you go hire Phillip Rivers as an offensive coordinator or football coach, or I don't know.
Oh boy. So, yeah. So obviously,
and honestly, if you put a what do you guys, you gamblers, what do you odds, an odds sheet?
Yeah.
I guarantee you Phillip Rivers shows up on that list.
I would say yes. It is 100% a consideration from fans, but
I'm not saying that he's a favorite, but he definitely gets some odds. So
correct. Agreed. I agree with that too as well. I agree with that.
I totally agree. When Gunnar was announced coming to the UNC game, this was my exact first thought too, is Michelle.
Phillip Rivers should be
not the alpha wolf. If he is not the alpha wolf, everybody should be fired. Everybody.
And you're legitimate. You're not even joking.
I'm not even joking. Unless he declines and doesn't want the attention, which
is fair.
Bro, which is fair. Like, but he should be my first call. He should 100% be my first call.
Yes.
But can you imagine?
Fans would lose their crap.
If I hadn't already broken my leg, I would have jumped over if Phillip Rivers is the alpha guy. Yeah, for sure.
Agreed. I 100% agree. I would too, dude. I 100% would.
I mean, that crowd will lose its effing mind.
Mm-hmm.
It will lose it.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But again, it just because here's my other thing too is like, do you do like if you got Phillip Rivers? Because obviously they usually like announce it a day or two ahead of time, like so and so is going to be that wolf. You just not even like you don't even announce it. You just like make it a surprise.
He just shows up.
Oh, well, you just make it a surprise. Like you just don't even.
Right. He just walks out.
He just walks out. Like, oh my god. Yeah. So
But not only would he be the best trash talking coach, can you imagine him being the alpha wolf for the UNC game? Like I feel like he would trash talk. Like I would trash talk Bill Belichick. Like,
well, he would be like Peyton Wilson when he did it, where he
Mhm.
literally went over to the opposing bench and was
Mhm.
talking smack to them. Like,
yeah, well, they were doing
oh, that
warm-ups.
was so sick.
Yeah,
So sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, 100%. So
I fully am on board with all of this.
fully on board. But real quick as well, so I do want to go ahead maybe and knock out baseball here a little bit, Greg. Just kind of get your couple of notes you kind of took away from this exhibition. Obviously, even though you're playing Carolina, even though it's only
We
an
lost
exhibition,
3-1. Yeah,
you still want to win. You
you
still
do.
want to beat
You
Carolina.
do. And again, though, we talked about it earlier with men's and women's basketball during these scrimmages, right? Like, what are you looking to get out of this? If you're NC State, you're looking at it to get out of it healthy.
Correct.
So you didn't see any of the big arms throw for State. A lot of
Yeah, no
freshmen, a
point.
lot of transfers. Aiden Kitchens seems to be like a dude. Like, he pitched another couple innings in this game. Was really solid. By the way, this is a Carolina team. Again, I don't know who they played. But if they played their regulars, they've got 4 guys in the top 100 in an MLB draft. So to hold that lineup 3-1 against your typical not pitching staff, again, if those dudes played and played any amount of time, that's impressive. So for me, this exhibition season for me was like, okay, who's going to be your pitchers? Your starting rotation's pretty solid. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but it's like, okay, who can give you innings in the middle of the season? Like, who's got stuff that you trust, right? That's number one, because anyone, yeah, exactly. Where was I going? You want to be able to have arms that you trust, especially in moments. And when you're replacing a lot of guys, and when I say a lot of guys, a lot of the kind of the back end guys, you want to know who's going to go out there and give you quality innings, quality pitches. So in that regard, I was impressed by what State did during the scrimmage season. The hitting, hitting's a finical thing. You got to get into a rhythm, and when you're only facing live pitching from another team once every 2 weeks at this point, I'm not really worried about it.
Well, especially too, because one of the other piece of rhythm as well is in a game, seeing a pitcher 2 or 3 times, which you're not even doing. You're probably only seeing that guy 1 time until he gets replaced.
And if we took the same approach that we did in the Wake Forest game, we had guys in and out, just kind of getting them some at bats and looks. And this team's got a hit. I love what we did in the Wake Forest game a couple of weeks ago, since I was able to watch that one with Mikey Ryan and Dalton Bargo and Chris McHugh all hitting home runs. Like, I think we're going to definitely see an uptick in power this year. Defensively, kind of the guys playing in some different positions. Like, you had Bargo playing at first, which he has some time, but he's not a typical first baseman. So some of these things will eventually play out, but definitely happy about this team. And again, we really haven't seen, I can't remember if Anderson Nance pitched on last week. I thought I maybe saw his name, but I don't 100% remember. But yeah, like a lot of the returning guys didn't really pitch in the games. They, probably are throwing on the side in practice. But yeah, it'll be fun. They get started in January for spring training, if you will, and then games start right around Valentine's Day. So that'll be here pretty quick too.
Yes, it will. Yeah, no, so excited about baseball for sure. And just a lot of promising signs, even though obviously a 3-1 loss to Carolina is tough.
It was tied going into late innings. It was 1-1 in the 7th, so they pushed a couple of runs in late, but and the schedule came out. That came out last week. If we want to talk about that for a second, it was
obviously the at FSU weekend series was a good way to start. That was the first kind of matchup that got announced, but home, kind of the off season, or sorry, the out of conference, you host Princeton, host Sacred Heart, get a midweek versus Coastal Carolina so
couple of things. You will have a return of Alex Sosa. Miami will be coming to Raleigh the first weekend of May. That kind of That kind of stands out for anyone. I always look at the baseball schedule, especially early in the season. We don't really have any cold weather road trips. Well, I'm sorry, I lied. I was looking at Red is home. No, I'm good. Red is home. So we have Boston College and Notre Dame in March and April at home. So no cold weather games. We don't have to travel to South Bend or Chestnut Hill, which is good. Yeah, we do have Georgia Tech and Florida State on the road. Wake and Virginia Tech on the road, and then Stanford. So we do have to go out west. So that one kind of is a thing. But we handled out west really well last year, going to Cal and sweeping that series. Yeah, the out of conference. I don't like. I'll be honest. I don't really like the out of conference schedule.
No, it's pretty weak sauce.
Yeah, I would definitely have liked to have seen, like last year we got to play down in that tournament in Jacksonville. We had Coastal in that in Alabama, and then Ohio State, which Ohio State wasn't really good, but you got Coastal in Alabama, so those are at least some decent opponents. But this, but you, like I said, you do have a return of a couple of players that were on the teams before. You get Jackson Lucas coming into town from Liberty, and I already mentioned Alex Sosa, and then you'll get Jake Bechtel coming in from UNCW. So you'll have a couple of actually, do we not have UNCW at home? Oh, there it is, April 7th. So you do have a couple of returning players, and then
Elon at home, which Elon's never a slouch either.
No, Elon's okay. Yeah, and then A&T you have Jacob Houseford. He's at A&T unless that's changed. He was there last year. I expect him to be there this year.
But I think it's a very favorable schedule for sure.
It is.
Of like I think you're the teams you're most worried about in your schedule. You're getting them at home, except for Georgia Tech and FSU. But
FSU's gonna be good. Georgia Tech was a really good team last year.
But Duke, Miami at home, Carolina at home.
Yeah.
So favorable there. Yeah.
See, Duke will be interesting because Pollard's not there anymore. He's at UVA, and we're not playing UVA this year.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So that will be an interesting to see how if Duke maintains what they built under Pollard. They've definitely poured money into their program.
Do you think the nail in the coffin for Pollard is Duke getting denied a top 16 seed just because of their facilities?
There's probably some play in that. There's probably some truth.
Like any concern that if Ira Pollard had about the facilities, that just cemented for sure. Like, okay, we're not even close, obviously, to where we need to be.
So a couple things here. I'll hit in the chat real quick with Michelle. This next phase should be ready to go by opening day. They're technically
facilities.
Correct. Yeah, there's technically one more phase to go. I'm not sure what that's going to look like because I've heard we've run into some financial stuff with that. Just because we were late getting out of the gate building and doing things, and things cost more because we had a delay. So I'm not sure what phase 3 will look like, but phase 2 will be ready by opening day. And then Preacher Man is spot on here with Puerto Rico, and that's where we get the season started. We have a series down there. We'll play 3 games, 2 games at one location, and then 1 game at the other location. And that schedule is Washington State, Indiana State, and Seton Hall. All we should sweep that.
Should.
But again, first weekend of the season, you don't know how things are gonna play out, and we took a L in all 3 games in Jacksonville last year, and I would have thought we would have won at least 2 or 3 of those, but didn't affect the season as a whole. But it did. Those games do definitely affect your RPI when it comes down to trying to host for a regional. So those are important in those facts.
Yep. So touch on kind of speed round a couple other sports. Obviously, men's soccer back at home tomorrow against number 19 ranked UNCG. So
it's a tough schedule. Like they've played a lot of good quality opponents, even outside of the ACC.
Well, I mean, in North Carolina alone, you have UNCG, you have UNC Charlotte's really good, Elon's good.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have a lot of teams, and then I mean, obviously the ACC, Carolina's good, Wake
Right.
Forest good,
Right.
So it's kind of a little bit of that baseball experience
Yep.
where it's like you're just within your own state and your own conference,
Mhm.
you're kind of behind the 8 ball. So,
Yep.
yeah. So again, excited about Coach Hubbard and the team and continuing
Phillips
to
got his
build.
15th goal of the season the other day. Like he leads the country in goals.
Well, yeah, he's number one prospect right now in the country as well. So, yeah, again, I mean, all the props in the world for sure to Mark Hubbard, Boo Corrigan. I mean,
Mhm.
what a get and what an exciting season for sure. I think honestly, all of the momentum you've seen so far, I think it'll go up another notch once we get to the
Yeah.
postseason. Like, could you imagine us hosting the first 2 rounds for the men's tournament? Like, dude, Dale will be. People will have to like get on people's shoulders, like literally like piggyback to get in there and watch that game.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be awesome.
We need to see if
So,
we can get some media passes for that since we've kind of had them
yeah.
we've covered them in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've watched a couple of games on TV, and I'm not even a soccer fan by traditional sense of the word.
Nope.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's done in just over a year and a half with
Yeah.
the program.
Absolutely.
We're flirting with we were number one for a minute, which I don't know how you tie and get dropped in the polls, but whatever.
Yep.
And obviously we did lose one after that, but yeah, I think we're sitting at number 6 right now in the country. Is that
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Women's cross country has won a couple of dual meets. I saw that they've been kind of doing their thing as usual.
Yep.
I think Michelle mentioned, I saw that we did split
Volleyball.
over the week. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
How are they? I don't stay up to date enough on the
Volleyball.
yeah, not necessarily volleyball. Just like I see that they win, I see that they lose, but I don't really keep track of wins and losses, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, kind of where they're sitting at, if they're in the hunt for an NCAA tournament berth, because the ACC is really tough.
Yeah. No, they're 10-8 overall, 3-5
Mm.
in conference. They've had some good wins for sure. Beating South Carolina is solid for sure. You're pretty happy about that. Beating Florida State 3-2, Wake Forest 3-1, and then beating Clemson 3-1. So some solid wins for sure. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely unfortunately outside the hunt right now, sitting at 3-5 in conference. So you have a tough matchup here at Pitt here on Friday. So and then at number 7 SMU.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be we'll find out for sure this weekend very quickly, Greg, if there's
Right.
potential for postseason.
If there's
or
a
not.
chance. Yeah, because it looks like I was looking at the schedule, the back half, this last part is very loaded with opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, we're still early in the season, a lot of opportunity, some ups, some downs for sure, but more to be seen. Wrestling as well. Got the wrestle offs going on this Saturday at Reynolds Coliseum, 2:30 p.m.
Is that open to the public?
Yes. So it's free. Wrestle offs is just basically inter NC State competition. So basically their spring game, quote unquote. And then their first matchup, I think, is against Northern Colorado on November 8th as well. So make sure to let's go and pack out that stadium and that arena. The term. Again, it's gonna be an exciting year for sure. Obviously, returning Vince Robinson, national champion, a true freshman. That by itself should sell out the Reynolds Coliseum, combined with also too getting a couple big transfers in, some NCAA qualifiers, which again still to this day. And I'm still pinching myself, Pat Papalicio getting in transfers. Like, I just never really thought that'd be something he would do. Not that it's a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing at the end of the day to see that there's holes that he just unfortunately has not been able to recruit and develop in. So, hey, just go get somebody that
plug and
play and develop him from there. So it happens.
I will be curious to see if they do a banner for Robinson, like, or if they just put it up and then just quietly do it, or if they do it like before, like that initial meet. That would be kind of cool if they do something like that for him. Because I know they have all the individual national champions up in the rafters. So I'm just kind of curious if they're going to do a ceremony for that, or they just kind of just put it up there quietly.
I mean, I think they'll put it up there. But I think it's going to happen against Northern Colorado because with wrestling,
correct.
He's going to enjoy it. But then once that thing's done, he's focused on 2026 national championship.
Yep.
So yeah,
Agreed.
no. But again, excited about wrestling, what they're going to accomplish here this year. Got to give also a shout out to Tennessee State softball as well. As I'm telling you,
Mhm.
Greg, like literally Lindsay Leftwich with softball, any recruit she wants, she gets. I mean, I think
Definitely feels
pretty
that way.
much for every single recruit that I've gotten licks on between Softball America, Line Drive Sports, of them visiting. She's gotten every single one
Right.
of them for the most part have committed between the time that they were announced and now. So I mean, obviously now with today, Lily Poland, a top 60 recruit for the
Mhm.
class 2027, one of the top pitchers in the class, committing to NC State. So I mean, you have multiple top 100 recruits committed in the class 2026, 2027 to come, and you got a couple even top 100 commits as well that are part of this part of the team right now, actually, but are true freshmen. Going to take a little bit of time to develop and get there, but
You're
again,
starting to
man,
stack.
you're starting to stack. You're starting to stack, and it's just, and that's why for me, like I have no problem whatsoever supporting this team because I feel
Yeah.
like that the job Lindsay Leftwich has done so far is like, all right, if the on the field results support what she's been able to do recruiting wise, and the amazing things recruits are able to say about her,
Yep.
sky's the limit, dude. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, man.
Yeah.
Women's
Just
College World Series.
yeah. It takes time to build these things. When you're talking about a sport, you need 10 players plus probably 5. So you need like 15 dudettes, if you will.
And you need a couple stud
Right.
pitchers as well,
Right,
which
right,
we haven't
right.
really had.
Yeah, it definitely begins with pitching in softball. If you can, softball is an amazing sport in those regards. As these women can just throw 200 pitches in a weekend like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You'll see them maybe start a Friday and then come back on a Sunday and throw again. It's crazy. But yeah, it starts definitely on the mound, and then yeah. And baseball, softball, same thing. You only need a couple of hits to win a game.
Right.
If you've got amazing pitching, that will beat good hitting probably most of the time.
Yep, absolutely. So excited to see what's to come for NC State softball this year as well. If can we break through, finally get back in the NCAA tournament? Be around 500 in the ACC. I think if you're able to achieve that, that's a pretty good step forward for sure for
Yep.
this program, and a little bit of a sign of what's to come.
Yeah, she's had a good win here or there, right? It's just about
Right.
winning series at this point. Like you can go get a
Winning
win,
series.
against a Clemson, against a Duke, against a Carolina. It's just, can you go finish a series and get 2 out of 3? And I think
Exactly.
that's the missing piece right now from being okay to good to
Yep.
really good, and now being a qualifier. Because again, we talked about it earlier. If she starts making, because it's really hard. Like, I don't care what kind of things that you offer these kids for NIL, academic opportunity, blah, 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 blah. They want to go to places where they can win. And so you
Absolutely.
kind of have to win in order to kind of draw these other people to your school. It's not, and the NIL is a lot different for baseball and softball. So
Oh, yeah.
again, if you can just break through, make a tournament, make a little run, okay, now you start getting on these other players' radars. Your players can go recruit these other players. Say, hey, come on, like we're building something here. Come be part of something.
Yep.
So I think if she can get to that level, just start breaking through, the talent then will start to pour in, because she's, like you said, she's just an amazing person, number one. But then just she can definitely sell ice water to Alaskans.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great way to do it. And then I mean, obviously excited as well for tennis season here to come as well in springtime. Excited to see what those programs can build. So again, we've said it before. We haven't said it in a while, Greg, but it's definitely a great time to be an NC State fan for sure. Very, very excited about it. It wants to come. A lot of good stuff to talk about
Yeah,
here.
winter and spring sports should be really good and fun to watch. We're kind of wrapping up fall here pretty quickly. We'll be basically out of fall sports in the next month or so for the most part.
Yep.
The next probably the next 6 to 8 weeks we'll be out of fall. Yeah, depending on what football does, and if and when we make a bowl game.
Yep.
That's the last thing. Do we make a bowl game at this point?
I think you do, because you're sitting here
you get to
4-2.
6.
I think you do. I think Carolina, yes, feel good about that. And then between FSU and Pitt, give me one of those. At least one of those. I see you winning both for sure. I
You
don't
could.
think it's the craziest thing to win both.
I mean,
So,
you are playing a freshman quarterback this year, kind of coming back to full circle back to football as we close this out.
Yep.
I mean, you're playing against a true freshman quarterback making his first home start.
Yep.
You've had an extra week to prepare for him. Again, like I said earlier, if you're going to go pull something, this is the week to pull it. You've had extra time to scout this guy. Maybe you do some funky things. Maybe you have some wrinkles in some things. And then you're able to just kind of, I wouldn't go say shock the world because it's only a 7-point. Like again, you mentioned it earlier with all the upsets this week in college football, and then there's been a few weeks where we've had a little bit of chaos. Pitt is horrible, like as far as their fans. Like you won't.
Oh yeah.
I'll be up there. I would
Non-existent.
be shocked if you have 35,000 people there. Like unless it's maybe their homecoming or something, which I don't know if it's their homecoming, but they typically, like we were there for their homecoming last time and they didn't even have 40,000 people there. So it's going to sound and look very empty on TV probably. They do have a good kick time at 3:30, so maybe that brings a few extras out. Weather's supposed to be pretty good, upper 50s. It's going to be fall weather finally for some football. But yeah, I think to the point, if you're going to go steal a road win, this is the one you go steal because I don't know about Miami. Miami is still I'm kind of on the fence about Miami. Like talent wise, they're good, but if they go lose another game and they're kind of out of it from the playoff perspective, will it stay together?
Exactly.
And like on a Friday night against Louisville, that stadium was pretty empty as well.
Yep.
So depending on what kind of kick we get for that,
Right.
again, not insurmountable. I'll get that word right.
Yep. Exactly. So, yeah. Any other final thoughts here, Greg? Comments here before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just I'm appreciative of sports for right now.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
amen.
Go get some wins.
That's right. Let's do it. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this conversation. If you listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to us, do us a big favor. Leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate that as well. And make sure you give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But as Preacher Man said right here in the chat,
Couldn't say
go
it better
Pack,
myself.
baby. Go Pack, baby. Be
Go
Pitt.
Pack.